Hi, welcome to Mountain Jim Card Collectibles. I hope you're having a great day. So, today I want to talk about disappointment and people being pushed to the fringes of the hobby. And that always kind of bothers me for the fact that eventually people who are pushed to the fringes of the sports card hobby are just going to hit the exit door one of these days. And why is that? Well, it's not fun to be part of a hobby where you're just really not included in it. And I can relate that to the way that the Topps Fanatics Monopoly is distributing their cards. And so I've noticed a lot of disappointment with this latest 2025 Topps Football Chrome release, as more and more people are waking up to the fact that a lot of the best hits are not going to be in the retail format, and we all know that it's nearly impossible to really get into the hobby products, for most average consumers, customers, whatever. And so I've been seeing a lot of stuff online from people that are unhappy about the way that this monopoly is releasing their product. And, I've been saying that for months and months and months about Topps Fanatics. Now, I'm not a monetized channel, and a lot of the monetized channels tend to gaslight people into trying to make them believe that they have a lane in the current sports card hobby. But as more and more people are finding out, they don't have a lane in this hobby. And the reason why is because Topps Fanatics is more or less solely catering to the breakers and the breaking companies who are tied in with their company so that they can control, as much of the secondary market as they can. And for people like me who grew up in the 80s and 90s, who could buy a lot of different branded products, chase big hits, retail formats, this is just really a big disappointment. And I know that there's other people that were really excited about the Topps Fanatics Monopoly, taking shape, but a lot of those voices, I believe, are starting to, kind of pull back because they're starting to see really what the Topps Fanatics brand is doing to the hobby. And they're just torpedoing the hobby for the most part. There's a lot of gaslighting. There's a lot of, pushing gurus on YouTube to say good things about Topps Fanatics. But we can't deny it at the end of the day that most people who've liked this hobby, the sports card hobby, for most of their lives are getting pushed out, including myself, unfortunately. Yeah, there's people that'll say, well, just go stick with retail and this and that, but it's just not good enough. It's not good enough for people like us, especially when they're not going to put a lot of the better hits in them. And it is what it is. So I'm going to go over some stuff in this episode. And I just want to say that I won't be doing as many episodes through May 6, 2026, because I have a surgery that's due on that date. Now, if I can get in earlier for one reason or another, hey, I'll be doing more episodes as normal, but until that point in time, I'm kind of pulling back on doing episodes because I can't talk as much, okay? So I apologize for that. After May 6th, I'm hoping that my mouth, my teeth, whatever, after this dental surgery are back to normal and I can just, do my episodes like normal. So anyway, I just want to apologize for that before I get into this matter with 2025 Topps Chrome Football. Now, you can go online and, chase 2025 Topps Chrome Football, in the secondary market. Hey, but you're going to need a lot of money. And most people just want to, open cards for maybe 20 minutes, don't have the time, or the cash, I should say, to spend on these secondary market boxes. I mean, they're just out of control. And so as more and more people are pushed to the fringes of the hobby, I mean, to me, look at this. This is just This is a disgrace. Now, nothing against the seller here, but you have a 2025 Topps Chrome Football factory sealed hanger box, pre-sale, pre-order, $5,000 or best offer. A hanger box, okay. At this point, if that's the way that they're going to play this game, I would say stay away from this stuff, all right? Because you're going to get burnt. We have a 2025 Topps Chrome Football Hobby Box first day issue on hand for $5,400. I mean, yes, people, sports cards are only for the rich people. And not just that, but rich gamblers. Because let's face it, you're always gambling when you buy a box, or rip open packs, I mean, you're crossing your fingers, you get some good, awesome cards. And then, of course, we can see all the, the industry-wide news for, this set, which they don't get into the weeds of, the people who've been priced out. They never do. That's our typical media for you. All they do is stick up for corporations. And then, there's a lot of, people talking online about this, you can go to Reddit, and it's all pretty much negative, there's just a lot of disappointment with this set, with the prices. People are torn on it, calling it 2025 Topps Chrome a dumpster fire. I mean, so there's just a lot of kind of different opinions on the set for now. And that takes me to X, the post by SkyB Cards, okay? Like it says here, Topps Fanatics made it to where almost every desirable case it cannot be pulled in retail for 2025 Topps Chrome Football. Such a massive disappointment. Okay. And let's take a closer look at this. Okay. So what we have here is we can see what is not involved for case hits in this product. Okay. So if you look over here, this is all more or less your retail products. Okay. Hanger boxes, value boxes, whatever. Although I'm surprised, we have this Chrome 25 Sapphire Hobby Box. It doesn't have a lot of case hits either, which is kind of surprising because that's fairly expensive stuff. But that's 2025, okay. Maybe they'll change that in the future, because it's the first year. I don't know. But anyway, we have what they're leaving out for retail. You can see all this kind of empty space over here. The Helix Superfractor, the Game Jeans Superfractors, the Tecmo Superfractors, the Tecmo Autographs, the Tecmo Autograph Superfractors, the Kaiju insert case hits. Okay. For a lot of people, those are some of the best hits in this product because Topps Fanatics have been hyping up these case hits, okay? Specifically the case hits that I just read for the most part. And so I can understand why people are disappointed, okay? Because it's pretty unfair to sit there and advertise these big case hits, and then the only people who are really, able to get into them are more or less breaking companies, so you have to gamble your money away. All right. So let's see what people are saying. This was posted on April 14th, 2026, just yesterday, 1:35 p.m. So it's been up for, 17, 18 hours. So right off the gate, not including the Kaiju case hits in retail formats is extremely disappointing. I could care less. I mean, I just really think that the Kaiju case hits are a dumpster fire where they just threw a bunch of copycat artwork on a card. Okay. If you've seen my previous episode on that. I don't have a lot of views, so maybe you didn't. Luckily, the 2025 rookie class is pretty mid. Hopefully, Topps learns from this for 2026 products and beyond. I don't think they will. Let that trash run the shelves. Only way Topps learns anything. I don't really know if they care about that, to be honest. Because the way it works is, they distribute it to however they want to distribute to these retailers, and so the retailer purchases it. And so if anyone eats the product, it's usually the retailers. You can't hit Kaiju and Tecmo. Big deal. Did Panini ever let you hit a numbered out of 50 or true gold from retail? Get a grip. Some things could be exclusive to the hobby format, or what's the point? Well, the point is a lot of people like me are getting exhausted between retail and hobby. And I really see this as a boon for TCG. Because TCG is just a lot easier to get into, You're going to get awesome case hits out of retail. You don't have to spend a lot of money for that. You don't have to be tied in with the inner circle like you do with Topps Fanatics to get the better cards. And what gets me is lately I've been selling a lot more TCG for one reason or another than sports cards. A lot more, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh! Than I usually sell. And, I'm selling some sports cards here and there, but I'm just asking myself, are people just really starting to get turned off of sports cards for one reason or another? More or less because it's been gated? Because let's face it, this is a gated hobby at this point in time. You can't pretend it's not. You have to be within the inner circle of Topps Fanatics, otherwise you're not going to get much. Which basically means you have to have a lot of money. At Topps, this is a horrible mistake. I was looking forward to getting some retail, but instead I think I'll just save my money and buy just that one or two cards I just want off someone directly, or just wait for the market to start falling a bit. Okay, hey, welcome to the fringes of the hobby. And hey, if you're willing to live in the fringes, give yourself a pat on the back. But a lot of us are pissed off, At Panini America started that trend years ago. No more good old days when Flair, UD, and Skybox gave everyone the same chances. Now I feel those hit cards are for influencers only to be broadcast. Very disappointing at Topps. Love your content at YouTube. Yay! So, yeah, it's sad. I'm just not even sure, how long people are going to continue to travel down the fringe road of the sports card hobby before they just bail out, and start doing different things. Because there's a lot of things you can do in this world besides always being the person that's left out of, the hobby for the most part. And I see it. More and more people are on the fringes and they're asking themselves, where their lane is, what they can do in the fringes. And I would go, well, I'd probably, recommend that you find a hobby where you're not in the fringes, and, you can enjoy it more. Because as Topps Fanatics takes control of, this monopoly, you're going to just start to see more and more people pushed to the edges of the hobby to where they're just like me asking themselves, well, what can I do in this hobby, I mean, if you don't have a breaking company, you can't really enjoy the hobby, because that's really what this hobby always was, is ripping. I never bought any singles in the 80s or 90s because I never had to. You know what I mean? I always ripped my own cards out. I never really considered any other way. You guys still buying cards? Fanatics effed everything up. Yep, they did. Now, I know that you have your favorite sports card gurus on YouTube who are monetized. They're always going to gaslight you and make you pretend that you have a place in this hobby. But take it from me. 80s and 90s was, if you're in the hobby, you're ripping products. And that's just the way it was. It was affordable. It was, for the most part, all licensed product as well. You had competition, so you could go out and do what you wanted for the most part. All the people who are sticking up for the Topps Fanatics monopoly are people who probably don't want you in the hobby. They want the hobby all about them. Okay? And hey, if they're a breaking company, hey, they can pull it off. If they're rich, they can pull it off. But if you're a working class person, you're just struggling to survive, eventually you're going to feel the sting of getting pushed out of the hobby for the most part and hitting the road, That's how I see it even before they announce release dates with any cards. Retail are the commons nobody wants. Yeah, and they really are, you know. If you've bought enough retail and you've tried selling it, you know, you get the idea that it's the product that people don't care about. You know, it's overprinted. It's usually, you know, the QC's pretty rough on retail. I know that there's a lot of people, you know, that like to hype up the Topps Fanatics retail. But in the future, I'm guessing that the chases are just going to get tougher and tougher and tougher in retail to the point to where retail is just basically for the fringe hobbyists, you know. People have been pushed to the fringe, and they're going to realize once they waste enough money that, oh boy, this is just rotten. This isn't new. Off the top of my head, Bowman Spotlights and Crystallized aren't in retail, yeah? There's pretty much a lot of big hits that aren't in retail, and I've always said that on my channel. Is if you have an LCS, you can go in there and buy hobby packs. Buy hobby packs, because at least you have an opportunity to get a hit, you know? You're just not going to get that chance in retail. Right? So disappointing. Was hoping us retail folks would have a chance at least. Not with Michael Rubin, you know. Michael Rubin doesn't care about collectors. All he cares about is money, you know. So the same as Topps Chrome Basketball. Yep, everyone's starting to catch on to this. They hold the monopoly, and they don't care about you. At Fanatics now controls MLB, NBA, and NFL card license for the next 20 years, and this odds table is what that looks like in practice. Rookie patch autos, dual autos, Tecmo autos, Kaiju, Radiating Rookies, Game Genies, all of them completely locked out of retail. If you want to chase the cards that actually matter in 2025 Topps Chrome Football, your options are a 350 hobby box. I'm not sure where you found that one at, or a 650 jumbo. Both sold through an EQL lottery that most collectors will lose. Yeah, I mean, that would be it, because the secondary market is just exploding with prices. At Panini Miracle has problems, but at least there was a second company in the room keeping prices honest. Fanatics bought Topps for $500 million, locked up all three major leagues, and is already facing an antitrust lawsuit from collectors who saw this coming. Every chase card funneled into the most expensive formats. Every retail box stripped down to filler, and zero competition for the next 2 decades. Yep. And that's, you know, that's kind of the writing on the wall here is, you know, I like doing other things, and I believe that I'm probably going to just have to start doing other things. You know, that's just the way life is. Unless the leagues decide to cancel this thing with Topps Fanatics and allow, you know, collectors and fans back in the hobby rather than just catering to breaking companies. The hobby for normal people is cooked, definitely. What the effing F? We're all just a bunch of cucks of the hobby. Yes, it's true. Talk about a rug pull. Yeah, we got Panini. Yep. Set collectors are so screwed, man. Yeah, this is not about collectors at all. I mean, this is just all about cash at the end of the day, you know. Gamblers. And one of these episodes, I'm just going to hop on TikTok and we'll just go over, you know, some of the memes for breaking and getting into breaks and this and that, because they're pretty funny, you know, but with all the disappointment, you know. So anyway, how do you feel about this release, you know? How long do you think you're going to be able to stay in this hobby? You know, I mean, most of us have been pushed to the fringes already. And the Topps Fanatics monopoly is just going to accelerate that, you know, to, you know, warp speed. So how do you feel about all this? Leave some comments, you know. Like to thank my subscribers. You're the reason I keep doing this. And I apologize I won't be doing as many, you know, through May 6th, you know, so I can get my dental surgery. You know, I just can't talk as much, unfortunately, so I've been more or less muzzled. I'd like to thank my viewers as well. thanks for sticking around. If you could subscribe, that'd really help me out. Anyway, keep your chins up. Hopefully things work out for us, but then again, let's be honest with ourselves, and we have a new reality for the sports card hobby, and that's breaking companies and gamblers come first. And everything else is just trickle down sports cards. Anyway, I hope you have a great day. I'm out of here. Bye.